Mode 1.
This morning, a growing plea to put the brakes on spring break immediately. Troubling images of large groups of young people seemingly ignoring coronavirus guidelines.
Obviously, people our age are like, oh, like it doesn't affect us. There's cheap flights. Like, let's do this.
Government health officials are now emphasizing new statistics from the CDC showing nearly 40% of coronavirus patients hospitalized in the U.S. are between ages 20 and 54.
Happy Sunday. As you know, I normally don't do videos on Sunday, although I did quite a few last year in 2019. Yeah, 2019 was probably the most Sunday videos I ever did. I think this year in 2020, this might be my third or fourth. I think it's about my fourth. I think this is my fourth time doing a video on a Sunday. Just wanted to talk about a few things. Had a great live stream with my Patreon subscribers yesterday. And we talked about a lot of things. And one of them was about 2 or 3 guys asked me about how this current coronavirus pandemic, will potentially affect their love lives, sex lives, and overall social lives. Well, realistically, I think it already has. See, I look at the pandemic in 2 regards. The actual coronavirus itself, the effects of the coronavirus itself, and the general population's reaction and response to the information they're receiving regarding the COVID-19 virus. Those are almost 2 different things. Is the effects, the health effects of the COVID-19 virus and the general population's reaction and response to the information they're receiving regarding the COVID-19 virus. In other words, put it more specifically, you got 2 groups of people basically on different sides of the spectrum. You got a percentage of people out here that I feel are overreacting to the coronavirus, that are overreacting, such as all the toilet paper being gone. I mean, how much motherfucking toilet paper does any family household need? I mean, people buying toilet paper, man, like, it's ridiculous, man. Like in my local grocery stores, if there's 2 aisles that are always empty, is the bottled water aisle in the grocery store and the toilet paper and paper towel aisle. Yeah, paper towels and toilet paper you can't even find in my local grocery stores. And bottled water, as soon as they restock it, it's gone. So yeah, there's some people that you could arguably say are overreacting. But then on the flip side, you got some people who are underreacting. Like on CNN, they showed videos of people, some generation, what is it, Generation Z? Basically young people that are between, 17 and 24, 25. They out on the beach acting like ain't nothing going on. They're basically like, when they were interviewed, they had this attitude like, oh, the coronavirus only affects senior citizens. It doesn't affect young, healthy people, so we really don't care about it. Well, that's foolish in the sense that, see, here's the thing with the coronavirus and other similar viruses, is that it's not just about if you become infected by it, will it have devastating effects on your health? Because in most cases, it won't. It's no different. I would almost kind of sort of look at the COVID-19 virus as just a somewhat stronger version of your common flu. So what's known as influenza, common flu. People die from the flu, particularly if they already had some health complications and health ailments before they got infected by the flu. Like something severe I experienced when I was young, when I was 21, I came down with what's known as walking pneumonia. That might be the closest I've ever come to death by sickness in my life. Yeah, my doctor told me that I could have potentially died from that. Yeah, pneumonia is a serious, like when you catch pneumonia, what basically happens is your lungs start filling up with liquid. Almost in the same effect as if you went into a deep swimming pool and you start drowning. You start taking in the water. Yeah, the water liquid starts filling up in your lungs, man. It hurts. It hurts to breathe. Trust me, it hurts to breathe. But as I was saying, the problem with something like the common cold or the flu, or more particularly this COVID-19, is that even if you're asymptomatic, which means you're not feeling any devastating effects from a virus, you could quickly and easily pass it on to someone else, most notably an older person. That's why they're having all these lockdowns and whatnot. It's not so much that they're fearful that everybody who gets infected by the virus is going to die or become terribly ill, is that they don't want you passing it on to other people. That's the thing. That's why everybody's being overly precautious. They don't want you passing it on to other people who could be potentially devastated and have their health knocked out by this virus. And that's my criticism of people who are underreacting to it, is that they don't realize they could be carriers of it. They might not die or become hospitalized themselves if they become infected by the virus, but they could carry it on, be a carrier to their aunts, uncles, grandmothers, grandparents, and just other senior citizens in society. So yeah, I would say there's equally people overreacting to the pandemic and underreacting to it. If I had to choose between the two, even though both had their flaws, I'd rather slightly, not too much, but I'd rather slightly overreact. I'd rather be slightly overly cautious in response to this virus than to be underly cautious. I'd rather be overly cautious, at least to a small degree, than under cautious. Because, yeah, man, you know. So anyway, as it relates to men connecting with women, the straightforward question I had posed to me in my live stream was, Alan, do you think this is going to have an effect on, you know, men's ability to connect with women socially? Sure. Particularly if you live in a large metropolis, I would say for damn sure. I mean, right now, you got cities like Los Angeles on lockdown, Chicago on lockdown, New York City on lockdown. Just about a lot of the major metropolis type cities are on lockdown. So quite naturally, it's going to have an effect. I say this, and this is what I told my guys in my Patreon live stream. If you're a guy who's married, this virus shouldn't have any type of profound effect on how you relate to your wife. If you're cohabitating, it shouldn't have any effect on how you relate to your cohabitation partner. If you got a long-term girlfriend or you're engaged, but you two live in separate residences, I would say 90 to 99% chance it shouldn't affect how you two relate to each other. If you're a single man and you're concentrating your attention on, say, one or two women of interest, and you both are generally healthy, not super duper social, not, just incorrigible party types, nightclub types, then you should be okay. Here's the number one type of people when it comes to men and women socially interacting with each other, who it's going to affect, depending on how long it lasts. Now, if the pandemic lasts another, 2, 3, 4 months, everybody should be okay. Slowly get back to normal, everything will be okay. But some people are projecting that this pandemic can last 12 months, 18 months, 24 months. If it lasts that long, you're in for a change. Not only as it relates to your love life, sex life, and social life, but just period. As a human being on this earth, you're in for a drastic change. Period. Yeah. So if you're a man, for example, if you're a man that's, let's say you're a prolific womanizer type, or at minimum you aspire to be. If you're a prolific womanizer type that say currently got 3, 4, 5 or more different fuck buddies, oh man, this coronavirus is going to put a dent in your lifestyle. Trust me on that. Trust me on that. If you're a man that likes to run the streets, as they say, run the streets, be out, basically the type of guy that would go to a nightclub every Friday and or Saturday, go to a lot of bars and restaurants on a week-to-week basis, yeah, this coronavirus is going to put a dent in your social life. Unless you're around those young people that were on that beach in Florida that just really don't give a fuck. But most people do give a fuck. So you're going to have a lot of men out here that's not going to trust being around women because they're going to be like, I don't know who you've been around. I don't know who you've been around. And same thing with women. Women going to have that attitude towards a lot of men like, I don't know who you've been around. I don't know who you've been around. So yeah, it is. It is going to have an effect. I say the longer it lasts, the longer the pandemic lasts, the more it's going to have a profound effect on your love life, sex life, and social life. Again, if this is something that can pretty much be controlled and managed pretty well within the next 2, 3, 4 months, then everybody should be okay. But if it's something that's going to be last, another 12 months, another 18 months, another 2 years, yeah. Again, most people it's going to affect are guys who are currently prolific womanizers, guys who got, I'd say, a minimum of 3 or more different sex partners, and or guys who aspire to be some type of prolific womanizer, and where you got you're concurrently interacting with a multiplicity of women. It's gonna affect you. It's gonna affect you for damn sure. It's gonna affect you. So I would say just take every precaution to stay safe and stay healthy. But hey, quit buying up all that damn toilet paper. Seriously, man. Y'all don't need that much toilet paper and paper towels for what? I mean, and in addition to guys who either are prolific womanizers being affected, or guys who aspire to be prolific womanizers being affected by this pandemic. Oh, by the way, quick side note. Somebody asked me, I think in my live stream, what's the difference between a pandemic and an epidemic? Aren't those two the same thing? A pandemic is anything that's worldwide. Basically, a pandemic is a worldwide epidemic in a nutshell. Now, I think there's 3 different things. There's a pandemic, epidemic, and endemic. Endemic is when you have an outbreak that happens in a specific geographical location, a geographical area. Epidemic is when you have an outbreak that is multiplying at a significantly higher rate than most people would expect. And then a pandemic is a worldwide or global endemic. A worldwide or global endemic. But I was saying how it's going to affect the social life, love lives, sex lives, and social lives of womanizers or wannabe womanizers. On the female end, I'll tell you who it's going to affect the most, and I said this a while back, is out of my 5 archetypes, which is reciprocators, rejectors, wholesome pretenders, erotic hypocrites, manipulative time wasters, man. Women who are like attention whores, cock teasers, and just any other variation of a manipulative time waster. Oh man, all these social restrictions that are being applied to society, man, shoot, them women gonna go crazy, man. I'm serious. If a woman is like a narcissistic attention whore type, or just an incorrigible cock teaser type, oh man, this pandemic is gonna fuck them up. Manipulative time wasters are gonna be extremely frustrated by the social restrictions implemented because of this pandemic. They're gonna go crazy. Seriously, they're gonna go crazy. Somebody just wrote that in my comment section. They're gonna go crazy, man. I would say even probably more so than the womanizers and aspiring womanizers. Yeah, women who are manipulative time wasters. And more specifically, I would say all three types of manipulative time wasters. Attention whores. Those are women who just love to soak up flattering attention from men by subtly offering them the possibility of sex. Cock teasers. They're similar to attention whores, but their main thing is they get egotistical satisfaction out of knowing that they got a man sexually aroused without giving them any pussy. That's a cock teaser. Another form of manipulative time waster is what I call a financial and non-financial favor seeker. Financial, non-financial favor seeker. Similar to a gold digger. Yeah, financial or a non-financial woman who gets you to do either financial favors for, or in some cases non-financial favors for, by subtly offering you the possibility of sex. And then the fourth type, as I talk about in my book, The Possibility of Sex, a manipulative time waster, is the emotionally empathetic listening ear. That's a guy that a woman would use for you to listen to all her sob stories, all her stories of disappointment, frustration, heartbreak, bad relationships, how she got fucked over by a womanizer. You're her go-to listening ear. All those women, man, this pandemic is going to fuck them up. It's going to fuck them up. More more so than the womanizers and wannabe womanizers, and more particularly the lying manipulative type womanizers. The lying manipulative type womanizers. And speaking of lying manipulative type womanizers, I had a commenter on in my next to last, not my last video, but my next to last video. And see, I started that very video by saying, I'm tired of you guys trying to come in my comment section and convince me of the appeal and effectiveness of indirect game. Why are you guys doing that? And again, to credit to most of my listeners, viewers, there's not too many people doing this. I don't want to act like it's like, 25 or more guys that are doing this. It was only like one or two guys in my next to last video. But I'm going to call you out by name, assuming this is your real name. It might be just a pseudonym you're using. But there's a guy who goes by the name Baron. And I've seen him in my comment section before. And usually his feedback is pretty, if nothing else, objective. But Baron, bro, stop. I just got to tell you, Baron, man, stop, man. Stop. This is what you're trying to do, in essence. It's like you're trying to convince me that indirect verbal game is just as effective for connecting with women as direct game is. And you're trying to convince me that the option between direct verbal game and indirect verbal game is like the choice between vanilla ice cream or chocolate ice cream. Or wearing a navy blue suit versus a Glen Plaid suit. No. Now, if you're convinced of the appeal and effectiveness of indirect game, I'm not trying to argue with you. More power to you. Use indirect game. As I tell anybody, use indirect game. But don't insult me by making attempts to convince me. Baron and whoever else is similar to him, read my lips, man. I ain't gonna never have a preference for indirect game over direct game. Ever. Like from now until the day I fucking die. I will never, ever. Anything else that comes in my comment section along those lines, I am deleting it. I'm giving you forewarning. I'm deleting it. I am deleting it. Period. Period. I'm really, I find ever since I became a book author and dating coach, it seems like indirect guys almost always go out of their way to try to convince me of the appeal and effectiveness of indirect game than I do the opposite. Like when I first became a book author and dating coach, I never went out of my way to go to the blog site or message board or discussion forum hosted by someone who promotes indirect game and try to convince them that direct game is the way to go. I don't think I've ever done that. And that's real talk. Now, starting with, I don't know, as far back as like 2001, 2002, up until now, I have never gone to the chat room of an audio podcast, chat room of a video podcast, the comment section of a YouTube video or a blog site that I knew was hosted by someone who was about indirect game, and I went out of my way trying to convince that person and their followers and supporters that direct game is the way to go. But indirect game guys are always trying to come to me to make me believe. I'm going to just put it in simple terms, man. There's a lot of ways to get a woman in bed. I've always said, if your sole and specific objective is to just get a woman in bed, then, there's a number of ways to do it. Again, my 5 general ways would be attraction, seduction, dishonesty and manipulation, financial negotiation, and coercion. Every method of getting a woman in bed is going to fall somewhere in one of those 5 categories. Pretty much every single method of getting a woman in bed is going to fall under a variation of one of those 5 methods: attraction, seduction, dishonesty and manipulation, financial negotiation, and coercion. And for me, when it comes to particularly casual sex, particularly short-term, non-monogamous casual sex, I will never look at indirect or even financial negotiation on the same level as direct. Never. Like, simple example. If you presented me with 2 guys, let's say somebody told me about 2 guys, and these 2 guys had sex with 15 beautiful, sexy women over the last 6 months. 15 beautiful, sexy women over the last 6 months. And you told me about guy number 1, he got 15 beautiful, sexy women in bed by just a combination of his looks, his masculine sex appeal, and his verbal seduction skills, and his overall mouthpiece. And then you told me about guy number 2, he also got 15 beautiful, sexy women in bed over the last 6 months. But the way he got women in bed was by either lying to them and misleading and manipulating them and basically making those women believe that he wanted to be their next long-term boyfriend or future husband. Or secondly, he paid those women. Basically, he operated like a trick or a sugar daddy and like spent money on them in exchange for their sexual companionship. Now, in terms of the end result, both of them ended up having sex with 15 beautiful, sexy women. So in terms of the end result, you could say they're equal. You can say they're equal in terms of the end result. But in terms of how they got to that, how they achieved that end result, I'm going to have 20 times more respect for guy number 1 than guy number 2. I'm going to have 20 times more respect for guy number 1 than guy number 2, even though they both achieved the same thing, which was having sex with 15 beautiful, sexy women over the last 6 months. Like, I remember there's this black male YouTuber I've mentioned before, BGS Ibmore. I remember I had at least a mild debate with him about that. This was a couple years ago. But he had done this podcast where he was almost putting guys who pay for sex on the same level as womanizers. Basically tricks on the same level as womanizers. And like I just said, what I basically told him in his comment section, I said in terms of the end result, yeah, you can say they're the same. Like going back to my example, if a guy paid 15 women, beautiful, sexy women to have sex with him, and he ended up having sex with them, he still had sex with 15 beautiful, sexy women versus the guy who had sex with 15 beautiful, sexy women for free. So in terms of end result, yeah, they are the same. But in terms of how they went about achieving that end goal, that ultimate objective, I basically told BGS, I said, man, I'm always have 10 times more respect for the womanizer than the trick. I'm always have more respect for the womanizer than the trick. Always. Even though they both achieved the same thing in terms of just people getting respect from me, I don't respect guys. I don't have as much respect for guys who get women in bed, again, by either lying to them, manipulating them, and just generally making those women feel like they're going to be that woman's next long-term boyfriend or future husband. I don't have no respect for that. Now, some of those guys might not care about my respect, and that's their choice. Some guys would probably be like, well, hey, I got the pussy I wanted. I don't give a fuck, Alan Roger Currie, if you respect me or not. I respect the fact that they feel that way. But I'm just telling you, as me, Alan Roger Currie, I'm never going to respect a man that gets a lot of pussy either through dishonesty and manipulation or through financial negotiation. He's never going to have as much respect from me as a guy who gets a lot of pussy based on a combination of attraction and seduction. Attraction and seduction. They just never, yeah. Like this relates to, I remember I did a video not too long ago where somebody had asked me, Alan, a lot of pickup artists and dating coaches have mentioned that they've had at least one mentor in their life, whether it was an older brother, their father, their uncle, somebody in the neighborhood that they played basketball with. And basically asked me, Alan, who was your mentor? And I told him, I said, when I was young, I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have a mode 1 mentor. I didn't. In real life, I didn't have a mode 1 mentor. Because when I was young, like when I was in my teenage years, in my very early 20s, most of the guys that I was acquainted with, when it came to casual sex, they used one of only 2 methods. They either used the method of lying to women and making women believe that they wanted to be that woman's next long-term boyfriend, and then once they got the pussy, they would just dump the woman. Basically, pump and dump method, the pump and dump method. Or secondly, they would get women drunk, either get women drunk, get them high, and then just take advantage of them, which of course, for the upteen time, is now illegal. You can't get away with that method now. That's illegal. You'll go to prison for date rape using that method now. But that's what most guys did. The only guys I knew, like whether it was close friends, fraternity brothers, who came close to being mode 1 with women, was guys who were already married or already had a long-term girlfriend or fiance, and they would be mode 1 with their mistresses and their side pieces. Like I knew guys who were mode 1 with their mistresses and or side pieces. Like they might meet a woman at a club and they would say, hey, I'm married, so I gotta let you know up front, all I want to do is fuck you. I ain't gonna never leave my wife for you, but I do want to fuck you. So if you down to fuck, let's fuck. I knew some guys who were mode 1 in that regard. Or if they already had, again, a girlfriend or something, they would tell us, a potential side piece, hey, you know, I'm really into my girlfriend. I ain't going to leave my girlfriend for you. But if you still want to fuck, let's fuck. But to me, that ain't truly totally mode 1 because they still cheating on their girlfriend, their fiance, or their wife. And as you know, I don't believe in cheating. I don't believe in cheating on your wife or your fiance or your girlfriend. To me, that shit's weak and cowardly. It is. It's weak. I don't believe in that shit. I believe if you're married or in a relationship and you want to fuck multiple women, you should have the balls to tell your wife, fiance, or girlfriend, hey, I love you, but I'm going to be fucking other women. I love you, but I'm going to be fucking other women. So yeah, man. For me, it's all about that respect. In terms of that respect factor, using that example I gave, I will always have more respect for men who use direct verbal game. and more specifically, my mode 1 approach, than guys who use other methods, other unethical, shady type methods. Yeah. Liars and manipulators will never earn my respect. I don't care how much pussy they get. I don't care how much pussy they get. I don't measure guys like some of you guys out here in the ministry. I don't measure guys simply by how much pussy he got. I pay attention to how did he go about getting that pussy. See, that's where I'm different from probably like 95 to 99% of guys in Manitoba. I pay attention to how did you get the pussy. I don't care whether, some guys just care about whether or not the guy got the pussy. I've seen guys say that in different comment sections. They say, hey, as long as I got laid, that's all that matters. Or as long as so-and-so got laid, that's all that matters. And again, if you want to choose to believe that way, more power to you. I ain't trying to change your mind, but I'm speaking for myself. I don't care if you slept with 100 women in a year. I don't care. If the way you were able to sleep with 100 women in a calendar year was by lying to them, manipulating them, or spending large amounts of money on them, you ain't gonna never get Alan Roger Curry's respect. You ain't gonna never, not saying you necessarily want my respect, but you ain't gonna never get my respect. But if you got 25, 50 women in bed by straightforwardly telling those women all I want from you is casual sex, that's all I want from you, I don't want nothing else from you, then yeah, you're gonna get Alan Roger Curry's respect. Mode 1, baby. Go out and make shit happen.
Yes, sir.
Say it again.
Yes, sir.
Who's the king?
Alan, you're the king.
Say it again.
Alan, you're the king. You're dominating me.
Say it again.
Alan, you're dominating me right now. Mode 1.
Mode 1.
Daddy, can I go, please? You're the king.
Say it again.
Oh, you're the fucking king. Yes.
You're the king, Alan.
AKA the king of verbal seduction. You know, it's the tone of your voice, how seductive your intonations are, the vibrations that you could just reach out over the phone lines and stroke a woman's breast just by the sound of your voice, how you could make her pussy so wet just by the sound of your voice. That's actually very hot.
So you said my show was what?
I said your show is powerful.
Oh, say it again.
Your show is powerful.
I bet the king would fuck me really good.
Oh, yeah. Who's the king?
Alan Roger Currie.
Oh, yeah. Who's the king?
Alan Roger Currie. The king.
The king.
The king.
I have to agree with you on the communication piece, because I actually did take a session with Alan Roger Currie, and he gave me a line that I did not think was going to work, and it worked. And I was like, what the fuck?
Oh my God.
Man, he's the master. He's the master of the verbal seduction. He got that communication piece down pat.
It really worked. Yeah. It just simply worked, and I just didn't think it was going to work at all.
Verbal seduction, man. I'm like, clearly, this guy's the Michael Jordan of seduction. Like, you know, come on now.